Welcome back to Crime Chats. Tiny room, microphone, endless crimes.
Yeah! Today's episode, we're going to talk about John List, Sunday school teacher, family eraser, and life reinventor. Okay, so let's talk about this this guy. So we're back in the U.S. This time. We made it. We made it home.
Hopefully, no more bumbling Ron. Okay.
All right. So we're specifically in Westfield, New Jersey, and just like my last episode, I wanted to start with the house. So think big Victorian era mansion. Okay, so it's a huge house, 19 rooms, and there's a ballroom. And in this ballroom on the ceiling is a gigantic Tiffany stained glass skylight looking thing. Huge, big skylight, stained glass.
Okay. Pretty,
yes. And like I said, 19 rooms, ballroom huge. There's also an attic apartment on the third floor of the house. So there's 3 floors. And the house, because it's so big, has an intercom system. I need you to keep that detail in your mind. Intercom system.
That would be really cool. Also annoying, but okay, I got it. It's in my head.
Okay, so the inhabitants of the house. So we have John List. We have Helen, his wife. We have Alma, his mother. We have Patricia, his daughter. John Jr., his eldest son. And Freddie, his younger son. So 3 kids, John List and his wife, and then John's mom lives with them in that attic apartment. On December 7th, 1971, the cops do a welfare check on this house because mail is piling up, and Patricia's drama teacher at school, his name was Edwin Iliano, he'd become increasingly concerned because she didn't go to school, she didn't mention going on vacation. There had been a school note that she was going to visit family, but that's not something that, like, usually Patricia or Patty would have said, like, I'm going on vacation.
Okay, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
I know you mentioned the 3 kids. Can you give me their ages? Or around about, like, is she in elementary, middle, high?
Their kids are teenagers.
Teenagers, okay.
So 1971, the cops, there's a note, so they're like, vacation note, they're on vacation, you know, but this drama teacher is like, no, I'm telling you there's something going on, and they just don't take it seriously because they're like, there were deliveries to the house that were canceled, there was a note to the school that the kids were going to be gone, like, it's just...
Nothing fishy.
Bro, it's just nothing's going on, right? Okay. So, finally, the cops on December 7th decide to go because they keep hearing from this drama teacher, and then the neighbors now are saying, yeah, there's just a bunch of mail. So Westfield, New Jersey, I guess it was kind of a close-knit community. Okay. So, like, neighbors were very, like, everybody knew kind of what was going on. So, so the cops, I guess, just got tired of hearing about it, so they're like, okay, like, we're gonna go to this big house.
Guess we'll do our job.
So they walk into this big house, and what do they hear? They hear organ music is blasting. That intercom system playing creepy as fuck organ music, okay? So just think like, dun, 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 dun. Like, just imagine in your head, you walk up to this house, you've never been here before, and you just hear this really loud organ music. I would run the other way.
Like Dracula or something.
Personally, but anyway.
Okay, that's where you and I differ, and it might be the only thing we ever differ on. I would be like, ooh, that's really cool. I want to go see who's... Why is this house playing music by itself? Let's go investigate.
I was going to make a joke about scary movies if we were in them together, but... Just make sure that I come along.
I was going to say, I'm the blonde one, so I'd probably die first.
Okay, so organ music, and so they walk into the house and they see the ballroom, and in the middle of the ballroom are 4 bodies. Helen, who is 46, Patricia, who is 16, John Jr., 15, and Freddie, 13. The bodies are all on sleeping bags, like they're at a camp out from hell.
Mm-hmm.
They have towels on their faces. And they're arranged so Helen, the mom, she's kind of horizontal. If you walk into the room, she's horizontal. Her feet are against like one of the walls.
Okay.
And the kids are perpendicular side to side from her. So they make like a T. Helen was in a robe, like just a dressing robe. And the children were all in coats. John Jr. was wearing his winter coat and gloves. The coat was unzipped to reveal defensive wounds. There wasn't a lot of blood in the house. The only blood really was there were drag marks on the floor of the ballroom. So bodies had been dragged.
Okay.
Okay. And then so they're just going through this house. And then there is Alma, who was 84, 85 at the time, was also dead, but she was upstairs in her attic apartment. Okay, so now we have 5 bodies.
Okay.
The only person missing is John List.
The killer? Okay.
The dad, right?
I mean...
So...
Okay. Convince me otherwise.
Everybody was shot execution style. 9mm, a .22 revolver. I don't know what draws me to these family annihilation cases.
I think I do.
Oh.
Because you and I, we're the same. I think it's so opposite of us.
Yeah.
We can't understand it, so we're so fascinated by who could do that.
Yeah.
And why is that even something that is allowed, in this world, this life? How can you possibly carry that out? These are precious human lives, these children. I don't know. Yeah, so I think that's something that is just that macabre draw to be like, these babies.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so like I said, John's coat was unzipped to reveal defensive wounds. He's the only one that had something to the front of him. Like, he was shot in the face and he had like cuts and stuff. So he had tried to defend himself. All the other ones were taken by surprise. So
that also, I'm so sorry to interrupt you again. That also makes me think maybe he tried to defend, or he tried to stop it from happening to his mom or his sisters too, or his grandma. Who knows,
Mm-hmm.
And then he was protected. I don't know. That just a thought, but okay.
So they keep going through the house, and in John's study, they find a 5-page letter, a full confession.
Okay.
It's a letter to his pastor that he wrote. 5-page letter, just detailing the whole thing. Now we're going to talk about John List, who he was, because, get to know the monster.
Right? Okay.
So he was born in 1925 in Bay City, Michigan. He was the only child of strict German Lutherans. And there's no smiling with this story because it's so horrific. But I kind of, had a weird, because I was baptized Lutheran.
Oh.
And I have never met anyone other than my dad who is Lutheran. And so whenever I hear, I'm like, what? They still make those?
They still exist? What?
Anyway, or they made those back then, I guess. Maybe not anymore. But anyway, so he had a domineering mom and a distant dad. He was a World War II veteran and a Korean War veteran. So in World War II, he served as a laboratory technician. And then in Korea, he was an accountant for the army.
This is John or John's
John.
dad?
John.
Okay, this is John.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he met Helen, who was actually a widow at the time. So she had lost her husband to the war, and then they met, and they, fell in love.
They seem really young to be in World War II, because if they have teenagers in 1991...
1971.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I misheard that. I thought it was 91. I was like, holy cow, they're old parents. Okay.
1971. So they got married in 1951.
That makes so much more sense.
And then, so they moved to New Jersey. John got a bank job in New Jersey. He was the ultimate control freak. He would mow the lawn in a suit. He just Sunday school teacher, very rigid, very religious. He was a strict dad. People say he never smiled, which kind of sucks if you're his kid.
Sad life.
Yeah. So he never smiled. He had this job, basically, just God-fearing people, but he was very, very, very strict about it. He ends up losing his job. And instead of telling his wife that he lost his job, he leaves the house at the same time every morning, goes to the train station, and just hangs out there all day. Like, he does not want to...
Great plan.
And they live in Westfield, New Jersey, which even now, like, if you live in Westfield, New Jersey, like, you've made it. Like, you're well
really?
off. Yeah.
Okay.
So, big house. I mean, the Tiffany skylight, like, they had money, but then he lost his job. That was their income, you know? Right. So, he still had all these things. He needed to appear like everything was fine, but really, like, everything's crumbling because he can't afford things anymore, and, like, they're out of money.
Do we know why he lost his job?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry. The bank closed down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that he did or...
No,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, he loses his job, and then Helen, her health starts to deteriorate. She becomes an alcoholic. There's a lot of drinking. Turns out that she got syphilis from her previous husband.
Uh-oh.
And it was poorly treated. And she never told John.
No. So,
what happens with syphilis is if it's left untreated for a long time, like, it starts to eat your brain. And so she starts just lots of health problems. She's drinking all the time. Like, he's trying to keep the shit together, right? And then, you know, so his kids, they all had to go to school and then go to church and then Sunday school, like, very strict. But Patricia decides that she wants to become an actress.
Well, of course.
And she starts to rebel a little bit.
She's 16.
But like,
okay.
Oh my stars, clutch your pearls. Like, how dare my daughter want to do anything other than, like, be a nun, you know?
Be a homemaker.
Yeah. So, because we had a full-page letter, we have he detailed the whole thing. Everything that happened. So, in the morning, he sent the kids off to school, and he shoots Helen in the kitchen, in the back of the head.
Okay.
So you'll remember that the only blood they really found was in the ballroom. He cleaned up the blood. So he cleaned up the kitchen pretty good. Because he's a control freak. Everything had to be neat and tidy. Anyway, he shoots Helen in the back of the head. And then he shoots Alma upstairs. So Helen in the back of the head, and then Alma above her left eye.
And remind me again, is Alma his mom or Helen's mom?
Alma is his mom.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, he waits for the kids. Patricia and Freddie come home. He shoots them both in the back of the head. And then, this dude takes a lunch break.
Well, that's got to be exhausting.
He eats a sandwich. And then, after lunch, he drives to the bank, closes the accounts. He watches John Jr.'s soccer game at Westfield High School.
Supportive father.
And then in the evening, John Jr. comes home. Then he gets shot in the chest and face. He tried to defend himself, so he was the only one who had defensive wounds out of all of them.
There goes my theory that he was defending the others because he was the last one.
So then, once everyone's dead, he arranges the bodies in the ballroom, so his kids and his wife, everything had to be perfectly neat. Like, he wasn't just going to leave them where they fell kind of thing. Like, he had to put them in the ballroom, arrange them on sleeping bags, the way I described.
But he left his mom in the attic.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So he says in the letter, I mean, I'll get into the letter a little bit more, but this one line really stuck with me. I killed them to save their souls from hell. The world is too evil.
One of these guys, okay.
So, before I go into a deeper dive from my notes, I wanted to let you kind of give me your thoughts on, like, psychology and stuff.
I have a bunch. Also, my opinions. My very first thought when you kind of started explaining things is, why is the 80-plus-year-old the one that has to climb 3 flights of stairs to go to bed? That's not cool. That's my first thought. Second thought, why is mom living with them?
She might have been, like, not doing well. I have no idea.
We don't have a lot on her.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as I started to kind of, as you know, you were explaining more and more on the case, and I'll get to my DSM in a moment. It's always here and handy and close by. What prompted him to just decide today's the day I'm going to shoot you in the back of the head, Helen? Do we have that?
That's in the letter, yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking this guy, I don't know, I was not alive in this time period, but I mean, you hear all of the extremist viewpoints. It doesn't make sense to me as a Jesus-loving Christian, God-fearing human being myself. This is not what is that. That was a weird sentence, but Jesus says to love people, not kill them.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you're ever wondering.
I'm gonna have you pull out your DSM here in a minute, but yeah.
I have it ready, but my suspicions right now is he definitely has, and this is 100% Hillary's brain. I'm not pulling this from any resource. I'm just thinking with my knowledge and my background and what you've told me. I think this man has possibly OCD, possibly some kind of schizoid personality disorder, because he has grandiose, I wouldn't even call them hallucinations. They're not hallucinations, but ideas of grandiosity that don't match reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are kind of my two thoughts right now. Definitely some kind of narcissistic traits, because he's very concerned with his outward appearance.
Okay.
And what other people view him as, and his world, and his life, and his people, his family.
Okay.
So those are my thoughts. I haven't consulted the DSM. I'm touching it. I have not opened it.
Okay.
So that's where I stand.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go into the letter more deeper. Okay. So basically, the letter talks a lot about financial desperation and shame. So he was unemployed. His bank job ended. He was facing bankruptcy and couldn't support the family's lifestyle, the expensive mansion, the Tiffany skylight, like all these things. He was kind of freaking out. He refused welfare as shameful and believed poverty would destroy them or force more compromise. Okay. So he wrote that everything he tried fell to pieces, and being on welfare and was more than I thought they could and should endure. So he had a fear. He also had a fear of spiritual damnation, so losing his faith. So he believed the 1970s world was too evil and sinful, and his family was straying from Christianity. For example, Helen's declining health and declining church attendance, because again, she started drinking and she was sick. Patricia's interest in acting as corrupt and not Christian. He claimed killing them ensured their souls went to heaven before they could renounce their faith.
Pause. This man is an extremist in terms of God-fearing Christianity, Lutheran, his words, right? He believes this. Old school, Old Testament Bible coming out of my mouth right now. The 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah, that always gets me. And like, I'm not as religious. I'm spiritual, but I'm not
right.
I just started reading the Bible, right? But like, even me, like when I hear people like killing for like religious reasons, I'm like, but it says not to.
That's like a no-brainer.
But it says not to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, that gets me. I killed him to save him. No. Nope. God said nope. Nope, I don't believe it.
The quote from that in his letter was, "At least I'm certain that all have gone to heaven now. If things had gone on, who knows if that would be the case. I know that many will only look at the additional years that they could have lived, but if finally they were no longer Christians, what would be gained?"
Finally they were no longer
so
Christians.
if they had led their lives but they weren't Christians anymore,
if they had strayed away kind of thing.
Yeah, then what would have been the point? Okay, and then another point was mercy and protection from future suffering. He saw only 2 paths: poverty and shame, or death leading to salvation. Shooting them from behind so they didn't know, and even at the last second, spared them pain and the troubles of this world. He admitted that it was wrong but not easy and was only done after much thought. For his mother, and this is the part that had people in the courtroom. So we'll get to when he was finally caught, because that's a whole can of worms too. Okay. But in the letter, it talks about his mom, and he says she was too heavy to move, and would suffer shock from the others' deaths from seeing.
Really? That would shock an 83-year-old, 84, whatever? Oh, dude, this guy. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I don't like him.
And then for his kids, they might cut back, but couldn't handle welfare. Patricia's acting ambitions threatened her Christianity.
What if she wanted to be a Christian actor to spread the word of Jesus Christ to the world, and he ruined that opportunity for her?
I knew that this was going to be a...
Sorry, my... Okay, I'm done. I'm good.
Okay, so basically, welfare equals shame, heaven equals salvation. Basically, his family's straying from God, and he couldn't handle it. So his opening letter, it says, "Dear Pastor Redwinkle," I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. "I'm sorry to add this additional burden to your work. I know that what has been done is wrong from all that I've been taught, and that any reasons that I might give will not make it right. But you are the only person that I know that, while not condoning this, will at least possibly understand why I felt that I had to do this." So in closing, in his letter, prayers and no real remorse, "Please remember me in your prayers. I will need them whether or not the government does its duty as I see it, or as it sees it. I'm only concerned with making my peace with God."
I want to be speechless, yet I have so many words. He's contradicting himself in this letter.
Yeah.
I know it was wrong, but it was the only way to save them, so it's right situation. You can't say it's wrong and then try to justify how it's right.
Yeah.
You can't say God told me to do this, but I know it's wrong. God can't tell you to do wrong thing. There's so much contradictions in that letter, and then I don't like him. I don't like him.
So, what happened to John List after he murdered his family? Well, he flees. He flew. He fled. He fled.
Good job. Words!
Words are fun. So he flees to Denver, and he gets himself a new identity.
Why? If he did the right thing.
So he's now Bob Clark. He stole a name from a dead classmate.
Oh.
He gets an accounting job. He remarries. He has a new wife named Dolores. They married in 1985. He's a church-going man again, and now he lives in Richmond, Virginia. So in 1989, so he's been now on the run for 1971 to 1989. There's an America's Most Wanted case episode about this case. They had a forensic sculptor kind of recreate what he may look like as a 60-year-old man. And a neighbor in Denver goes, "Hey, that's my old accountant." So he is swiftly arrested. John List, swiftly arrested. Fingerprints match. Everything matches. He's convicted in 1990, which is the year that I was born, by the way.
Happy birthday!
So he gets 5 consecutive life sentences with no parole, but he dies in 2008 of pneumonia at age 82.
Oh, that infuriates me, by the way. When prisoners who are convicted and guilty of the worst obviously the worst crimes, die just before any justice can be served. I hate that so much.
Yeah. My
injustice spine is tingling. But my question...
He was already 60 by the time he was
His
arrested.
mother lived to 83.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
He could have lived a lot longer in deplorable conditions in prison.
Yeah.
My question is to John, was Dolores not worth saving from damnation? I mean, good for her. I'm glad she wasn't, because she's alive, but...
So, now we're going to go into the trial, and this is where we can get out the DSM, because, So they had a psychiatrist by the name of Stephen Simring who had testified. He had interviewed John List for months, and so he testified at the trial. So it says, on List's awareness and sanity, so this is direct from trial testimony, by the way. So at all times, he knew the meaning and results of his act. Finally, and most importantly, he knew at all times that it was wrong, but both morally wrong by his standards and legally wrong. So on rationalization and premeditation, from the interview it says, or in analysis, List emphasized he wanted to spare his family's pain and saw no other escape. Simring noted List rationalized shooting them because they were all in a state of grace. He believed he killed them while they were still spiritually pure, ensuring heaven. So the diagnosis given was OCPD.
Okay.
So on OCPD and his mindset, so from his report and from the podcast that I listened to, List's rigid black and white thinking OCPD trait made him see only two options, welfare and shame or murder, to save souls. Simring described List as not very animated during the interview. He was calm, he was well-mannered, he was well-spoken, and he even appeared to enjoy talking about it. He showed emotion only when discussing the killings themselves.
Wait, he was excited talking about what? The crime?
The crime, yeah. So on post-killing behavior, Simring noted that he would ask questions like, after you kill them, what did you do? Did you eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? He was highlighting kind of Lists, like, detached, like, methodical recounting. He basically, like, was able to just say, yeah, like, then I ate lunch. It was lunchtime, right? So the overall assessment from Simring, from this testimony, is List was able to deliberate. Simring agreed with the defense that OCPD was present, but stressed it didn't negate responsibility. List planned coldly with full knowledge. Like, it's not like he snapped and he was out of his mind.
Right.
He was very in his mind. He was very deliberate and calculated. He planned this. So basically, like, the suburban dad down the street snaps, but then he, like, plans a bank heist kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of planning. But he also, like, he snaps because suddenly he's like, oh my God, everyone's going to go to hell. Yep. And the only way out for him was to, like, kill everybody.
Annihilation.
Yep.
What does OCPD stand for?
OCPD stands for Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder.
Okay, so my OCD was right.
Yeah.
My guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm assuming it's OCD, but what's the P? Yeah.
But I think the difference, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you have it right there, but like the obsessive compulsive disorder is like you have like actions you do, rituals that you do, but like OCPD is like it's part of your personality that, you know, you're very ritualistic in everything. It's not just, you're not just doing something over and over again to get to a goal. Like, that's like your whole thing is ritual, and, you know, everything has to be clean and I have to do whatever. It's just part of his like whole thing.
Right, so I'm looking at the OCD. I'm looking at the DSM-5 at the comorbidity section of it, because every one of these has a comorbidity, and if you're not sure what that means, it's like what are other disorders or the likelihood of having another disorder, and what might it be if you also have this disorder situation. That's a comorbidity. So if John has OCD, what might another situation or disorder, what's another one that's also pretty common? It's talking about anxiety, panic disorders, specific phobias, PTSD. So separation anxiety. I'm not seeing one where there's a specific personality disorder. We've got dysmorphic disorder. I mean, that's not to say that it can't happen at all. This is just something that is more common to happen
so OCPD
together.
Isn't in there?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm. Huh. But these manuals, the DSM's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, they're upgraded or updated every few years or so. So this is the 5th edition, right? The 5.
Right.
So who's to say what it was in the 70s and 80s and 90s?
Oh, right.
OCPD, it could be displayed or
yeah, they could have
as
just
something
like
completely different,
something.
right?
Yeah.
which is why I was trying to see if it was a personality disorder. It could be delusional, psychiatric schizophrenia. But then that could, if we were looking at that one, we could also look at comorbidities there.
But also, kind of to go back to like the crime itself. So remember, I mentioned organ music.
Yes.
Okay, so he blasted organ music, and he had like a repeater. So this music, because he already left, so it was just on a loop. And also he had the thermostat all the way down. And I should have mentioned this way sooner, but these bodies were dead in there for a month.
Oh, that's quite a while.
They weren't found for 30 days.
Huh.
So, he had the thermostat all the way down, so when the bodies were found, there wasn't a whole lot of decomp because it was so cold in there.
Right.
So...
And for so long, it's going to be really hard, impossible at that point, maybe, to tell any kind of clarifying distinctions or anything like that.
But yeah, he, the murders took place on November 9th.
And in the north.
They were discovered December 7th.
Right, so it'll be pretty cool temperature-wise.
Yeah.
In the northern states.
I mean, they were in their quotes and stuff, so it must have been cold.
True.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at the DSM, and now I'm looking at the schizoaffective disorders. So yeah, just the grandiosity, delusional disorders. It's so obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah. So they go really nicely in a very odd way, hand in hand together, because you're starting to kind of, I'm looking at schizoaffective disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder really go well together in terms of diagnostic stance in that sense for him, just because he was so, it seems like, control or obsessed with that control, and that he was like pigeonholing himself in, at least with his original family, that their biblical, their soul safety, I have to make sure they're okay eternally, kind of thing, if that was true. But even in the letter he wrote to the pastor, it sounds like he 100% knew what he did was wrong. Because he's ultimately asking for forgiveness.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, he was fully aware of that it was wrong. It was deplorable and whatever. He did not see another way. It was very black and white, very like, either we are on welfare and we're poor and my children start sinning and they're just not Christians anymore, which would be the worst thing ever, or I ensure that they remain in this state,
blissful,
forever.
Yeah.
In this way, because right now they're Christian. They have not strayed too far yet, right?
But that's not his decision.
So if they end now, then they're still going to be like that when they get to heaven. You know?
You don't get to decide other people's lives.
Yeah.
You just don't. You are in control of you. That is it.
Yeah.
If you have children, hopefully you raise them to where you can trust that they will make good decisions.
Yeah.
But you don't get to control that or that's really sad.
Yeah. Sorry about the really messed up one. But
I mean, I don't know. I had heard his name before, but I hadn't heard all the details at all.
Yeah.
What about you said, remember the intercom system?
Yeah, that was the organ music.
Okay.
It was playing through the intercom. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how it was able to be. It was like the entire house.
Just surround sound kind of thing?
Was just bumping to organ music.
Oh.
Yeah. And again, if I'm walking up to a house and I hear loud organ music, I'm leaving. I'm not staying there.
See, and I'd be like, ooh. My interest would be piqued.
I'd be like, I mean, I would definitely call somebody about it, right? But I'm not investigating myself.
Oh, I see. No, see, I would go in.
I'd be like, hey, 911. There's just this really creepy music coming out of the house. I'm not I'm not going in there.
Stack of mail on the front.
I'm not going to tell you what's inside because I'm not touching that house with a 10-foot pole. But, you know.
It smells kind of bad. But...
And that was the thing, too, was because it was so cold. There wasn't, like, that crazy awful
odor.
Smell or, like, you know, because decomp hadn't, I mean, obviously after 30 days, like, it starts, but
well, yeah,
it's not, it's so cold in there that, like, it had not progressed as much as it would have normally.
They were more preserved, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. They, apparently they looked like they were just asleep on these sleeping bags. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. If he was so against government assistance, even temporarily, while he got another job, because he clearly got another job, was able to get another job when he moved to start his new life as Bob. I'm curious what gave him the idea that government assistance equals sin. Did he have like a background of or like an encounter with someone?
No,
or something?
I mean I don't think it was the welfare was sin. I think that it was just such a shameful thing for him. Like he couldn't handle the shame of needing
a handout or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like the sin part was my wife is drinking all the time. You know,
so get her help.
Suddenly now there's like syphilis, so like
so get her help.
my wife is going nuts and she has syphilis of all things and she's drinking. My daughter wants to be like everything kind of was coming to a head, or like everything was kind of happening at the same time, kind of thing. And he was like he could no longer control his family.
But instead of like seeing it's a him problem, he projected it on I'm gonna be the savior and the good guy, and not that I have a problem at all. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's where narcissism comes in.
Mr. List.
Well,
my thing is, Dolores. how do you marry another woman and then just live life for 18 years? Like, how you gonna do that? How are you doing that?
I can only imagine the moment you ended the lives of your children, your wife, and your mother will forever haunt your eyelids when you close them at night.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would ever sleep soundly if he had a conscience. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that was truly a mental illness that he was going through, like a psychotic break or whatever it was, and everything was just coming down on him and he didn't know what to do, he was lucid enough to plan it, yes. That isn't... this is me going on the other side here. That doesn't mean you're not going through mental crisis, possibly. But I think, man, my brain is going a million different ways now. But I think there were things that should have been done, could have been done, whatever, could have, would have, should have, kind of thing. But I think in that time, especially, there was a lot of shame, I guess, put on mental health.
Yeah, things. I mean, it was the 70s,
taboo.
It was
yeah. Lock them up, whatever. But
I mean, we also have to remember, like, this is when like rock and roll was starting, and like the Beatles and like all this
devil worshipping and stuff was coming out.
So Satanic Panic was also gonna start, and so like I think that he was seeing all of the environmental stuff.
I can see that.
And then he was like, "Oh shit! Like it's in my house now. Family. It's in my house now. Oh my god!" But then he had this mental illness, which does not excuse anything
Absolutely
that he did.
not.
He's still a piece of shit.
Right.
May he not rest, but. He was clearly not in his right mind, regardless of how well he planned it. Like, I feel like you can be so delusional that like you do things that make total sense for the delusion, But to anybody else, they'd be like, "Holy shit, you're totally deluded." But like for the delusion that he had, like everything was. It had to be very planned.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
kind of what I was going at.
He was sending his kids to heaven before they strayed from God.
Right.
And he had convinced himself that that was the only way to go because of this white and black thinking, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he also never smiled and mowed his lawn in a suit. Like,
yeah, there was something not quite right.
There was something not right from the jump.
I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on mental health and things like that. Obviously, I have the DSM. But I think also he was rightfully arrested and imprisoned.
Yeah.
He knew what he did was wrong. He should have gotten mental help also. Yeah. I mean, you can still be a criminal and need mental health. Honestly, I think every criminal needs mental health. I think everybody in the world needs mental health. But I think justice was served a little late, but it was served.
Can you imagine the guy that recognized him off of a freaking clay bust that they made of like what they were like, oh, huh.
It looks like my accountant.
That looks like the guy that used to like run my books.
Or imagine if he didn't call in.
Yeah, like
would Dolores still be alive? Or would she also be dead?
I don't know what happened to. I mean, I'm assuming if I was Dolores, I would just like not want like any publicity or anything. I'd just be like, nope, we're done. We're just never gonna talk about this ever again. And there, like I'd be surprised if she's even done interviews or
We'll talk about the trauma in her life now too. She probably can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
She's like, I lived with this man for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I didn't put this in my notes, so like I feel weird mentioning this, but I feel I have like a thought in my head, like I seem to remember like they had a kid or something. But now, like, Dolores and her kid, like, they don't want nothing to do with, like, the media or whatever. They're just, like...
Good for them, but unfortunately...
We're not gonna do this. But, I mean, I could be wrong about that. I could be remembering something different. But I think I remember that they had a kid. But now Dolores and the kid are, like, nope.
Ugh. We all have a crazy relative, but hopefully we don't have a crazy murderous relative.
If they did have a kid... and that kid has a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just imagine, like, who is my grandpa?
We don't talk about grandpa.
Yeah. We don't talk about John List. No. Why do we?
Yep.
I mean, you have to joke because it's so, like...
heavy.
I read somewhere about, like, cops and detectives and stuff. Like, they sort of have to, like, joke around or, like, do whatever. Because they see so much awful stuff all the time, And this is a tangent, but that reminds me, Paul and I, we've been watching SVU together sometimes, like, rewatching it. And sometimes the detectives on the show, like, they'll make a joke, and I'm like, whoa, not okay. But then, like, thinking about this, I'm like, maybe that's what the writers were going for, was like, yeah, they make a joke to make light or whatever, but, like, and it's always Munch. It's always, like, the old detective. I don't know, but...
Well, I think that kind of is hand in hand with us, you and me, is we make some dark jokes sometimes. Most of them are, I don't know. I think pretty tasteful. Sometimes they end up kind of weird, but I don't know. I think there's a healthy balance there, in terms of, I don't know. I'm really glad and grateful that I have never experienced anything this traumatic, in that case. But we're the kind of, in my family, we're the kind of ones that you might see laughing at funerals because that's just who we are. We're a very comedic and humorous family, and we'll be crying, but it'll also be someone will just crack a joke. It's kind of who we are. It breaks the tension, and I think that's pretty common too. I don't know how we got on this tangent, but
but before in closing, I guess to kind of close the episode, I wanted to talk about the kids.
Yes,
because the podcast they do interviews. So I don't know a lot, but I do know that Patricia, she was very sweet. And she was very good in drama class, and she was remembered very fondly. And John Jr. and Freddie were best friends.
Aww.
And they loved each other. I just wanted to kind of give a moment for them, because it's sad that their lives were cut short, way too short.
It's important to remember the victims and bring their names to light. And unfortunately, I think in a lot of these very high profile cases, the bad guy is the one who gets remembered more.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know. So, Patty, you would have been an awesome actress.
Yeah.
Great asset to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And John Jr. and Freddie, brotherhood is the best I've heard. I don't know. My sister and I were always best friends, so I can imagine brotherhood bond is pretty similar. So
yeah,
pretty
cool. One of the interviews said Freddie was John Jr.'s best friend and John Jr. was Freddie's best friend. Is how they said it. So I was like, oh.
Sweet.
All right. Well, that is John List. Again, may he not rest. And that's all I got for today.
Don't forget to send us emails at crimechatspod@protonmail.com. And
we have that Pacer account.
Yes.
And so we were thinking this confession letter from John List, it's got to be, the full thing has got to be out there.
Right.
So if you guys are interested in seeing the full letter, or if you're interested in us summarizing it for you, we wouldn't be able to share it as it is. You know, we'd only be able to summarize it, I think, legally. But it would be really cool to read some snippets of it and to summarize it. So if you guys are interested in supporting us financially, we'll be able to do that.
And we also would be able to provide other fun benefits for any people who would like to subscribe financially, like behind the scenes kind of things, or any of our chats that get a little winded or, you know, off rabbit holes. Or maybe some fun like Q&A sessions or anything. So send us some ideas, but we definitely are moving toward that direction of sub tiers and things that just the general public maybe not get access to.
And you might be able to catch us live.
Yep. Soon.
We're thinking about going live maybe next week.
Next week. Woot woot.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Under an hour.
We did it under an hour.